Good morning, Coolest Coast. It is time for Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this episode of Coffee with Kristin and Tina. We're your hosts. This is Kristin Odell of KLO. I'm Tina Prigge with Vagabond Creative Studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
Kristin, I love how your hair's getting a little bit longer. I can see that like classic Kristin spike starting to develop. How does that
Do
feel?
well, this is the first day I've done something with it, so it was kind of exciting to see it, maybe have a little body, but
Have you had to do much with it? So today you said you put a little tiny bit of product in just to give it some lift. Have you had to do much to it
no, it's kind of
otherwise?
amazing. Yeah, it's kind of amazing. So when your hair is this short, you do need to get it cut more frequently. Like it is getting very long and kind of out of control around my ears, which I know it doesn't look like that, but when you have short hair and you can start feeling it on your ears, it gets real annoying.
Oh, yeah.
Um, so, kind of getting this zone trimmed up is always exciting. But yeah, I don't really know what we'll see where this goes. It's just kind of intriguing.
So have you been able to reclaim time? Like how much time did you have to spend styling your hair, drying it, styling it, all of that, that now you don't really have to
So
think
it's
about?
probably like 10 minutes of time back, which is amazing, especially in the morning. Like, I don't know about you, but the evenings tend to be pretty relaxed around here. Mornings, we tend to kind of just be a little bit more rushed and we're trying to get ready for the day, getting kids to school, and so 10 minutes in the morning feels like a lot of time.
I can tell you the length of one snooze is 9 minutes. So 10 minutes, oh my goodness.
Yeah, really.
It's definitely enough time to enjoy a cup of
The
coffee.
other thing is it's not just a time thing. So I use quite a bit of product in my hair normally because I have very flat hair. So we were talking about the picture from last week where it's laying down. Like that's naturally there. That is what my hair wants to do all the time. So if I were to just shower and let it air dry and hang out, it would look like that pretty much regardless of what the length is. It would lay very flat. So I haven't been putting product in it at all until today.
Wow. Wow. So do you feel a little bit more like yourself or do you always feel like yourself? Do you know what I mean? Like by putting a little bit of that spike back, is it you're reclaiming a little of Kristin
I
or
feel like, yeah, I just feel a little more stylish. How about that? I still
oh,
feel like myself. Um, but it is like transformative. Like when you shave your hair off, there is a piece of your identity that kind of gets stripped away for a while. And I would almost describe it as like a mental mind game, right? So like Doug and the girls are like, oh my gosh, you're beautiful. It doesn't matter. Right. But inside you look in the mirror and you're like, I look hideous. But did I really look hideous? No. It's just like the story I'm telling myself. And again, the reasoning behind this, my beautiful friend Stacy, like what I would stop myself and say, you're not going to talk like that to yourself, right? You know your why, and you're going to sit in your why right now. And then that like allowed me to just get over myself.
yeah.
So
That's good advice. What a good lesson. Thank you for sharing that with us.
Ninja Mind Tricks by Kristin Odell this morning.
Hey, mom trepreneur, how was Mother's Day?
It was super fun. So my only request for Mother's Day was I wanted to go camping. That's all I wanted to do. I love camping. It is one of my happy places. It's just very relaxing. And Nora had a soccer game last week in Sheboygan. So we ended up camping at a campground near Elkhart Lake. Still a little bit of a drive to get to her game on Saturday morning, but it was so fun.
How was the weather for camping? Is this typically the season where you start?
Yeah, we normally start now or maybe even a little bit earlier. And it was wonderful. I mean, sweatshirt weather. I think maybe Saturday morning for soccer, I had my winter coat along just because the wind, we were in Sheboygan and the wind off the lake was cool. But I mean, we were able to sit out by the fire. We had some rain Friday night, just like you guys did. I'm sure here it thundered and lightninged a little bit, but Saturday night was gorgeous. And sat outside by a fire until like 10:30 and just
Did you guys see the northern lights while you were out?
So we did not. So Friday night it would have been cloudy and yucky. And Saturday night we just didn't get up.
I
What?
I tried to see them. I went out both nights. So Friday I went out and it was raining and overcast. I was like, "Dang." And then, went to bed. But apparently in the night it cleared and people saw it. I'm like, "Gah." So then Saturday night, I'm like, this time, right? And I even got Jason in the car and we drove around. Nothing, nothing, nothing. We get back. I'm going into bed. I see people posting pictures from like just a little bit north of here. I'm like, dang it.
Oh, I know. One fun thing that I kind of learned. So Doug's family lives in Springfield, Ohio, and they posted that they could not see him with their naked eye, but if they looked through their camera on their phone, they could then see it. Um,
That's interesting.
yeah, so I don't know if there's just, some filtering or something with the lens that allowed them to pick it up, but they texted us pictures from Friday night, Saturday morning, saying that they were able to see them, but only through the camera.
Wait, you're not talking about one of those pictures where somebody's doodled a house and then they took like purple marker, green marker, yellow marker and scribbled it in, right?
Not that, but I did see some of those. I did. Let me see if I can pull one up and show you. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's super cool. I think it's so exciting. It's such a rare occurrence. I personally have seen the Northern Lights before in northern Wisconsin years and years ago, but it was like a psychedelic experience when I saw them because, they move and wave. And so if you are looking up at them, it is trippy.
Yeah, I have not seen them since I was in high school. So I've been longing to see them since I haven't seen them that long. My son's going to be 19 in 2 weeks. He has never seen them in his life. So I actually have an app on my phone. It's like from the government that talks about the geomagnetic. Called the Planetary K Index, and it's from the from NOAA, which is like the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, I think, if I'm getting the acronym right. But anyway, it literally like shows you, so you can see green and yellow means there's no chance of seeing them. But when it gets
Yes.
into like the oranges and the reds, oh my gosh,
Then you
I've got no skills on screen today. But when it then there's a chance. And so all weekend it was full red and there was just I didn't see
yeah,
anything.
here, can you see this?
Yes. Oh, that's gorgeous.
Right?
Oh, that's gorgeous.
But let me see if I can find it. Like if you look at this picture
Yeah. What am I looking at?
right over here is like the upper window of their house. So you
Oh.
can see there's a filter on because obviously they don't have like a purple glowing spook house, right? So, but
So you say.
I have been to the house. I can validate it's not a spook. But
Oh, good.
so you can see. So they were just able to see kind of those waves in the atmosphere just through their phones.
Yeah.
So
How lucky. Oh, I'm just hoping for the chance to see them sometime.
I know. So, friends, if you were out this weekend and you saw them, drop a picture in the comments or just tell us about it. What was it like?
Yeah, definitely. So, Kristen, is this then your Mother's Day camping?
Um,
No, what is this?
this is Friday at school. We had muffins with mom on Friday morning at school. So they hosted muffins and fruit and juice and coffee. And then you can kind of see Josie's little vase here. They partnered with Katie Shamper. Katie actually came out to school and the kids all made these little mini vases. And then they just had little fresh flowers on that morning that the kids could tuck in them. And so I got 3 of these adorable little mini vases.
Oh, that's awesome. And you know what? When I first saw this picture, I thought that Grace and Nora had cut their hair just like yours.
You know what's funny? Grace like sprayed her hair that morning and kind of like smoothed it out because she had kind of just some flyaways. And after the picture, and I kind of said to her, like, why did you do that? Why did you slick your hair down? She's like, Mom, it's fine. I was like, okay, fine. So we took the picture and then I was like, Grace, you and I look like we have matching hair styles. And she's like, oh my gosh, we do.
That's so cool. So then you've got a picture of your puppy with coffee. Is this camping? Does he go camping with you?
This is in our camper. Yeah. So yeah, this is Reggie and Millie is laying in her little dog bed there looking at the fireplace. But yeah, I got up on Sunday morning. The girls were not up yet. Doug had been up and had started the coffee pot for me, which was awesome. And so I just got to hang out for a little bit and kind of, we call it melt into the morning a little bit. And like, who doesn't want to wake up to, camper coffee and their doggies and My
Yeah.
fireplace.
What's the look on his face telling us?
I think it's really like, "Mom, can I please come up there?" Come
Oh,
up. Like, he waits for if I say, "Okay," then he'll jump up, but if I don't say, "Okay," then he will stay right there, so
what a good boy.
in
Wow.
general, the dogs are not allowed on the furniture, but every now and then the girls break the rules, especially in the camper.
So I do love your coffee mug, and then the fireplace, is that actually giving you heat in the camper?
Yeah, it's an electric fireplace, so the flames and the blue glowing coals are clearly not real. But yeah, it's a little electric fireplace, and we just like are able to run that on low overnight. And we just run a fan in the camper, and it circulates the heat. And so, um,
So no wonder you can camp when it's cool out. That's awesome.
I know. And the other nice thing about this, for those of you who maybe camp, I don't even know, but like we also have an LP furnace, a gas furnace in our camper that we could run, but if it's just kind of in, 40s, 50s, that little fireplace can heat it so we don't have to use we don't have to use gas. We can use the electric. So, which is nice.
Is that gas also then what you use for the stove?
Yes, correct. And the
Yeah.
water heater. Although with the water heater, we also have an option for electric. So, you're paying for a site and you're paying for electric. So why not use your electric appliances if they're available versus having to have your gas tanks filled?
Right. So when you go to a site, do you typically shower in your own vehicle or do you use the facilities
Both.
on site?
It depends how long we're going. It depends how dirty our family members are. Like, sometimes if we've been really out and hiking and playing hard all day, I will just take the girls up to like the shower house and we'll all just shower up there because, you get to stand in the shower and you get to like a full rinse, where a camper shower is like, turn it on, rinse, turn it off, soap
Oh,
up, turn it back on, quick rinse, turn it off. And it's like a 1 minute shower very quickly with the minimal amount of water you can use. Or like if there's a shower house.
yeah. Right. Because if you're doing it in the camper, it is literally just for hygiene's sake, right? It's not any kind of enjoyment under the water, any
That is
lingering.
correct. Yeah,
Okay.
you are just like, my goal is always like, can we just get clean enough to climb into bed so that the sheets stay good for a number of trips and we don't have like, I don't feel mentally obligated to like change the sheets. I know that makes me sound lazy, but that is real life.
It makes you sound like a smart mom, right? Who's trying not to make extra work for herself.
Yes. And the girls, like, we have a rule in the morning. So they wear clean pajamas to bed. So they're in their beds with clean feet and bodies and clean pajamas, right? In theory, sheets should stay fairly clean. And then in the morning, they're not allowed to like go outside and play in pajamas.
Oh, right,
Like,
right.
you can melt and hang out, whatever, but like get dressed if you're going outside because then, there's again, the clean pajamas stay in the clean sheets.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. So,
So,
well, we had a nice Mother's Day too. My parents got to come over and my grandma and my son was here. Jason prepared lunch for us. It was just so nice to hang out. And what we discovered, so I'm going to put this picture up because I love this season when all the trees flower. The
yeah,
reason I took this picture though is because there are two Baltimore Orioles in the tree, but you can't see them at all.
they
But I
are
was so surprised because I've never seen Baltimore Orioles in the yard before.
I'm sorry that they're not in there. Actually, I do see one.
They're there. Do you
I
see
do,
them?
yeah, in the bottom right quadrant to the upper left corner of that quadrant is one of them.
I see. You're right. You're right. Awesome. Good eyes, Kristen.
Um, what did Chef Jason make?
So I love a chicken salad sandwich with grapes on a croissant. And
Mm,
I just like said that out loud. And that's what he made. He made that. And then he had like a fruit salad and fresh cut veggies. And then my mom brought like a rhubarb tort. And
mm,
my favorite little sweet treat is like peanut butter bars covered with chocolate. I was so happy.
that sounds amazing. Amazing, amazing. And then my next question was, it came and went so fast. How does that happen?
It was about the cribbage, right? So we played four-handed, and I got to be a team with Teak, which is cool because a lot of times he won't play. He doesn't love it like we do. I don't know if that's a generational thing. I
Yes.
hope appreciation for cribbage is not going to be lost. But so we got to be a team. We got skunked the first game by my dad and my grandma. I know. But then we won the second game. So
So you ended up game behind, huh? It's
yeah,
very sad.
if you have to put it that way.
Doug and I played cribbage on a real cribbage board, a couple of them, and I honestly don't remember. I know he's going to come home after watching this and be like, convenient. You didn't remember when he always says that. I feel like we each won one. I don't feel like it was, mind blowing. Friday night, my aunt came. They stopped by to say hi at the campground, and so we played three-handed. So I have a 3-laned cribbage board, which was super fun. And I beat her and Grace, so that was fun.
Three-handed is uniquely challenging because you can't it changes the strategy a little bit, right? Because if you're playing two-handed, and, the person puts down a 10, cool, you can put down a 5. They put down a 6, you can put down a 9, right? And score points. But when it's three-handed, you just never you never know what's going to come before you.
Yeah, and there's a little bit different rhythm with how cards get played. So Sunday when we were here, my mom came out. We just did like pizza and ice cream Sunday night and hung out with my mom then. And we played four-handed. Josie played with us and my mom. And even that has a different, the person that leads, sometimes you're trying to set your partner up, but you got to get through that person in the middle. And it's just, again, it's a different game dynamic, but it was fun.
Okay, so here's a question. So we were playing four-handed too, right? Two teams. So my dad and my grandma were on a team, and my dad would say, so like, let's say my dad played a 7, and then Teak was next, and he played a 9. He'd say to my grandma, "All right, play your 8. If you've got an 8, play your 8." And then I was like, I don't know, is this table talk? Like,
Yes.
can you really be telling your partner what to play? Like, isn't it on her to evaluate her cards and choose? And he didn't think so, and Teak wasn't sure. I think he was kind of coming around to it being table talk. I mean, we play friendly, so I don't really mind either way. But what do you think? Do you think that that's like
total table talk in our family? Total table talk in our family.
okay?
Doug and I had when we were playing two-handed, where we got like 2, 3, 4, and then he played a 5, and then I played another 3, and it went like back and forth multiple times. It was kind of fun. You have to like wrap your brain around like, okay, is that still
Right.
Because like you got up to 5, and then it was 3, 4, and so it's like, okay, 3, 4 before that. So if I play a 3, that's my mom.
Thanks, Vicky.
Yeah.
I will tell my dad.
That would be a party foul. I don't really know what happens if somebody does that other than they get called out. Like maybe they get booted out of the game. Mom, what would you do if there was constant table talk? Would you not play anymore with them? I'd have to know what the rules are. But
And
yes.
it's hard not to offer that advice, right? Like, come on, play your jack, play your jack. It's the perfect time. But
Yeah.
because you really don't know what cards they have.
Right. Well, and sometimes even, when you get to end, let's say you're on 25, even just, sometimes 6 or less, that is even table talk in itself, right?
I suppose. Now that's a little different. I feel like because it's just helping somebody do the math, right?
Yes.
Like just hurry up, play. If it's a 6 or a less, you can play it,
Yes.
right? But you're right. I suppose that is still table talk.
Because you're like 6 or less.
6 being the most advantageous at this moment.
Yeah, we had an experience. So Josie is new to the game, Grace is newer to the game, and we had the experience. But we had one round where she, said a go. There we go, Mama, keeping it real. And the next hand, she played an ace.
Oh,
and I was like, wait a second. And so we backed the cards up, and then like it was just a learning opportunity for her to say like you can't pass, you can't go if you have a card in your hand that you can play. Like you have to play it.
right.
So
Even if it's you playing twice, if somebody says go and on
yes,
27 and you play a 2 and it's still a go and you have an ace, you have to play it even though it doesn't get you to 31.
I know, which is so painful sometimes. I'm like, man, what a waste of these cards. Darn it. But so it just, we kind of backed up to the beginning and we had to kind of redo the math to figure out where we were and then, showed her how it was supposed to be. But I mean, that's all part of learning.
Yeah. I remember some of those painful learning experiences, learning sheep's head as a kid,
Oh my
right? Like
gosh.
people saying like, "You can't do that," or, "You should have played that on the suit when it was
Why
played."
the
And
why the hell would you have played that card?
exactly. So
Oh.
it was Mother's Day, and some, memories came up, and one that really touched me, this memory came up when Teak was a tiny, tiny baby. I had this cool, like, vintage pram, and so we'd walk down to this old bridge from, like, 1887, and so this was one of the pictures I took. He was probably 3 weeks old in this picture, but I showed it to him. He's like, "Wow, that'd be an album cover."
It kinda looks like an image from the first thing that came to mind is, like, Addams Family, where they've abandoned the baby carriage somewhere and, like, rolled it off and was like, "Okay, you're 3 weeks old. You've gotta figure this out for yourself."
We did not abandon him there. We did not leave him.
That is a super cool picture. What would you name the album if that was the album cover?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, what kind of music would it be for?
Put
Good
it back
morning,
up.
Mary.
Let's see if
Okay.
Larry has any ideas. Yeah.
Like, is this like a Def Leppard album cover, or is this like an Indigo Girls album cover? Like where do you fall in the music spectrum first?
Mhm. You should ask Teak that. Or j like, I'm not great at naming me, but my first instincts are it would be more like rock and roll or metal than it would be other things.
Yeah, that's what I thought too when he said
Did
that.
you? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So some
Tell
sort
us,
of rock and roll or metal.
what would you name this album if this was the album cover?
Okay, and then what if this were the album cover?
It makes me wanna sing "Somewhere Over the Rainbow."
Nice.
Did you get
I
to see the rainbow?
I did it. I saw no celestial like displays. When was the rainbow?
Sunday after Sunday evening, Grace had softball practice until, let's say, 7:30, and we had planned to go to Big Cow. Big Cow was closed at 7. Bummer.
Oh, because it's still so early in the
Yeah, we were
season.
so bummed. So then we ran to Pick and Save, and Doug just ran in and got ice cream, and then we were on our way home, and this rainbow was kind of looking south. So we were on, this is kind of off of Dewey, no, off of Vagabond. And it wasn't a full rainbow. It was just kind of this short little like end of the rainbow piece. But
Yeah, just like a little gift, like a
I know.
little yeah, happy evening to you.
Well, and you can see like it's sunny, which is such a weird thing. Like it's sunny, but we can see the rainbow, So
Well, that's how the magic happens, right? There has to be the water particulate in the air, but then there has to be sun for the
right,
rainbow to happen.
right. So yeah, we had to stop. I mean, I'm like, Doug, you have to stop. I want to get a picture for coffee with Kristin and Tina.
I love it. I love it.
You must stop.
So, how is he? Is he pretty good at indulging you when you have those whims?
Um, yes, I'll say yes. Like he obliges, but he's like, really? Do you really need a picture? Yes.
Sometimes those moments, right? They're so fleeting. You just have to take advantage of them when they happen.
I do feel like rainbows are a gift. So like they don't happen that frequently. So when they do, I feel like I need to grab it.
Yeah, I agree.
Nice.
Hey, I just wanted to show everyone, we showed the squirrel video last week. This
Oh my
is the
gosh.
current state of the tree. How sad is that? It
It's very
just
sad.
it just breaks my heart that, after all those years on my watch, it had
Oh,
to be down.
I know. And what do they do? Do they take all that wood away? I can't remember.
I think so. I think they're figuring out what to do with it and what to do with the stump. But when I went out and looked yesterday, I noticed on the stump there's some black Sharpie lines. So I think they're counting the rings. So
Oh,
I'm looking forward to talking to him to say like, okay, what does this mean? What did you find out? How old do you think it is?
so when you talk to him, you have to ask him if a squirrel has ever climbed him before. We need the story. We need to know if this was like a one-time thing or if he's truly like the male version of Snow White.
I will ask.
Inquiring minds want to know.
We need all of the details.
Need all of the information. Um, I remembered what I was going to say. We walked through the zoo sometime in the last week, let's say last Monday it was.
Manitowoc Zoo?
Manitowoc Zoo, and we saw an Oriole there also.
Oh,
So sometimes, there's blackbirds down there definitely, and they have the little like orange spots on their wings. But this was like a legit Oriole. The girls got to see it also, and I was like, don't get to see them very often. Like it was super exciting.
and apparently they've just arrived, like they've just come back for the season.
Yeah.
And so I don't have a clear understanding if we're just kind of a pass-through location or if they end up staying here for most of the summer. But this is the first time I got to really see one and then hear its song too, and kind of solidify like, oh, that is the Oriole song.
And it's different. Like we noticed at the zoo, we were like, wait, we don't normally hear birds that sound like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they hang around, like if you see them again in your yard, over time.
Yeah, I was so happy. My mom kind of got me excited about it because she was putting out oranges and the grape jelly and everything to entice them. And then it was on Mother's Day. We were sitting outside. We're like, "There's the Oriole here!"
Oh,
So yeah.
that's so fun.
And we were talking about apps. There's a cool app. It's called the Merlin app, and if you're outside, you can use it, and it'll listen for all of the bird song that's happening, and it'll tell you like, "Oh, that was a red-winged blackbird," and it'll like light up as the song plays, and then it'll be like, "Oh, now there's an Oriole," and like it'll kind of keep track of the different birds that you've heard, and then if one sings again, it'll go back and flash that one's
That
now
is so
talking.
cool. Is it Merlin like the wizard, Merlin?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And it's a free app. It's called Merlin Bird ID.
Nice. Okay.
Jason said, if you talk about that on Coffee and Kristin and Tina, people are going to know why AARP is sending you solicitations.
I love it. Jason, she's not old.
But my dad appreciated using it. It's just really interesting because sometimes you hear a bird and you're like, that's beautiful. What is that?
Yeah.
Or there's lots of chatter going on and you're wondering if it's the same bird or different birds.
Yeah. And I'm not one like to mentally like take in like, oh, that's that. Oh, that's that. But I was able to recognize like that doesn't sound like what we normally hear. I could hear that there was a difference. So sometimes even when that happens, then it's like, what is that? Because that's different. And then, it's kind of cool to get the identifier with it.
I agree. Okay, Mary said she was up north this weekend and the hummingbirds are back. They always have a lot there. So I think hummingbirds are amazing too, but I hardly ever see them. Mary, that's really fortunate that you got to see hummingbirds.
Yeah, we have lavender right outside my office window here, and they tend to flitter around that lavender in the summer. I have seen them before. Which is the cool thing about hummingbirds is like they have so much color variation in their wings and they're so iridescent that like if you can just get your eyes on it for a minute, it's just like, oh my gosh, there's so much there.
Yeah. I tend to flitter around the lilacs.
Oh, really? Yeah, I could see that too.
I love the lilacs.
Yeah, we have a new like apple blossom tree, cherry blossom tree, something like that in our yard that we actually got as a gift when my dad passed away last fall. And so we planted it in the yard and it has buds all over it this year. So it's so exciting because, it's a new tree. You just never know how they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's so fun to see the little flowers on it and it being happy in the yard.
That's a beautiful memorial. What a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. It's super special.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so if you ever plant a lilac out front, you might see me just like hovering around. Like, oh, there's Tina. She's back. The lilacs must be.
Is that all it takes is a lavender tree?
Lilac.
Lilac? I have lilac bushes in my backyard, so I will expect to see you out there. If you want to pull weeds while you're here, you're welcome to do that also.
Oh, look at the time.
I know. The beauty of spring is all of these things are coming up. The con of spring is so are the weeds.
Right. Yes, they are.
They're back.
And I heard that Manitowoc is not participating in No Mow May. So there's no, what's the word I'm looking for?
What am I hearing you? It's must mow May.
It's must mow May, yeah. And if you don't mow, they are going to issue ordinance violations.
Yes. Yes. Now I do know people that mow the perimeters and things, and they keep like a natural section in the middle that is wild. Very similar to actually along Mariners Trail, kind of right across from the hospital where the Spirit of the Rivers monument is.
Oh yeah.
They have that. It's cut around the outside, and then they have kind of natural prairie in blocks around, kind of between the chamber and where the statue is. There's some spaces where there's natural kind of prairie. So that would be a good example if you're looking for the happy medium between must mow May and having some naturality. Is that a word? Naturality.
Let's make it a word. Communication, the way it works is if we understood you, then it's okay.
We're winning then. We
are winning. Kristin, it has been so fun chatting with you on this Wednesday morning.
Time went so fast. I have to run. I have to teach today.
Hey, all right, good luck. Have a beautiful, beautiful day. And you guys, it was Kristin's birthday last week. So happy birthday, Kristin.
Thank you. As Tina said, I turned 35 again.
Kristin is perpetually 35 in my mind. We were talking about this off air. I was like, were you 35 when I met you? Like, why is it locked into my mind that you are 35? So every time Kristin tells me it's her birthday, I'm like, are you 35?
I would love to be 35 forever.
And Mary said, happy birthday.
I do feel 35, like in my physical body, which I think is a good thing.
That's a good thing. May that continue.
Thank you, hon.
All right, everyone, you've been watching Coffee with Kristin and Tina. Your host, Kristin Odell of KLO, Tina Prigge, Vagabond Creative Studio. We'll see y'all next time.